Hello there and welcome to WADR's gender program 50/50 on West Africa Democracy Radio 94.9 FM in Dakar, Senegal. We're also live on Alternative Youth Radio in Lofa County, Liberia, Numi FM in the Gambia, and around the world on WADR.org. My name is Atiewin Imbila Lawson, and I am the host of the program. Here on 50/50, we discuss all things gender equality, equity, and equal opportunities for men and women, and how to promote a more women-friendly environment. We also discuss social issues and how men and women react to and are affected by these. This month on 50/50, we have been discussing evolving beauty trends and standards. We have looked at the role that social media plays in beauty trends. We have explored makeup and hair trends, plastic surgery, ageism, and body dysmorphic disorder, among others, looking at how gender relates to all of this. Remember to follow our discussions on Twitter and Instagram at WADR News, on Facebook at West Africa Democracy Radio English Service, and online at WADR.org. Also, you can leave me a message via WhatsApp at +221 7818 45421. Again, +221 7818 45421. And please begin your message with hashtag 50/50. Today, we bring you our Woman of the Month, an interview with a woman who has carved a path for herself, is impacting communities, defying the odds, and emerging successful. Today's Woman of the Month fits in perfectly with our topic for this month, beauty and beauty standards. Nuerki Nortey is a Ghanaian model and voice actor based in Accra. She has had the pleasure of working with brands like Ozwald Boateng, Bohten, Monde, 54 Thrones, Vogue Italia, and Lagos Fashion and Design Week, just to name a few. I started our conversation with Nuerki by asking her whether modeling was always in the plan.
I didn't have a plan to become a model. I think looking back in retrospect, I think I've always had people around me who would comment and say things like, oh, I think you should be a model, or they would just encourage me to look into it, and they saw potential in me. But for the longest time, I never saw myself as a model. It was only later on after university where I sort of seriously started considering it, and that was like maybe 10 years later. It happened through social media, through Instagram. I opened an Instagram account. I was really not a social media person. I just created an account one day and had no plan of even posting my face on there. But my sister used to take pictures of me, and I randomly just posted a photo of myself on Instagram, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was getting DMs from photographers saying that they wanted to work with me, and I was like, is this how it works? Kind of thing. So I sort of leaned into the idea more, and that's literally how it started.
Did your upbringing have anything to do with your career choice?
No, but I think in my family, we've always been exposed to, the arts. We went to music school. I was always part of theater and drama in school. My mom studied film, so we were always just encouraged to explore that side of our skills and abilities. So I think that sort of helped when I did decide to consider modeling. I think all those things sort of made it more viable, I guess, for me to go into modeling and explore that creative side of me as well.
How has your modeling journey been thus far?
Honestly, it's been great. It's been challenging at times. Just the challenge of working with different groups of people, different cultures. I don't know if it's all that I expected it to be, because I didn't have any plans for it. I didn't have any expectations, but generally, honestly, it's been great so far for me.
Tell us about your very first modeling assignment. When the client contacted you, were you excited or nervous? And what was it about?
I remember I was at my 9-to-5 job at that time, and I received a DM from the client. And when I saw the message, I literally freaked out, because I was like, there's no other reason they're gonna be reaching out to me except to work with them. So I was really excited about that. The night before, I couldn't sleep. I was so anxious that I think it was imposter syndrome that was taking place at that time, because I was so nervous. I was like, okay, I need to get this right. It was my first like proper gig that I had to like negotiate my rate for, and I was like, yeah, this is a really big deal. I was practicing my poses in the mirror. I was just imagining all the different ways that I could pose in their clothes, after I'd done research on the brand. But yeah, it was definitely a mix of excitement and nervousness. But it was for a clothing brand that has its operational base here, but they have huge markets in the US and Canada. A brand called Ozwald.
What's your favorite part about modeling?
Just the opportunity to become another character, like depending on what you're wearing or your hair, your makeup, you're able to put on a new character and explore a different person for, just for that time.
And what piece of work are you most proud of and why?
In 2019, I worked with a production company that came from Germany. We worked on a short film called Across the Sun. We shot it in 2 days, and honestly, if you see the results of it, you wouldn't believe that we shot in 2 days, but we did, and it was one of the best times ever, just with the crew and just everything that came together to make it was just a great experience for me.
Now, the modeling industry has a lot to do with critiquing one's features. How do you deal with that?
Yes, the modeling industry does have a lot to do with critiquing one's features, and has a lot to do with physical appearance. I wouldn't say it has affected my confidence in any way, or it hasn't affected my confidence negatively. It just hasn't.
What's the one thing you always look forward to when shooting?
The opportunity to meet new people, because people come from all parts of the globe to Ghana. I've worked with people who have traveled from, the US, Nigeria, Germany, Australia, just to come work with creatives here in Ghana. So it's always a good experience, the diversity of a production team working on like a particular project.
Have you faced any discrimination or unfair treatment as an African woman in the industry?
I haven't faced any discrimination or unfair treatment. I think something that does come to mind is, because modeling is heavily dependent on physical features and looks, I think something that I have personally experienced is maybe with like discrimination against body size, because to be signed on, at least in my experience, I've had to work on like my body size, my body measurements, because every model has their statistics, what their bust size is, what their waist, what their hip size is. It has to be within a certain range depending on where in the world you're working as a model. I had some issues with that. It wasn't discrimination, but it was more of like, yeah, if you want to be able to model in this place, you have to maintain a particular body measurement. So I think that's something that comes to mind when you ask about discrimination.
Would you say that modeling or the modeling industry in Ghana has advanced since you first started? What has changed and what needs to be changed?
Yeah, definitely. The modeling industry in Ghana has advanced. I think even the past 5 years, there's been a lot of expansion and opening up, creatives, being more daring to explore, telling their own stories. It has opened up. So yeah, I think social media has really played a part in helping us tell our stories better and just giving us the confidence to share our stories.
What determines the shoots you audition for? Is it the photographer, the theme, the location, the message being sent out? Tell us some more.
Honestly, I don't audition for shoots. I've never auditioned for a shoot. But mainly, most of the time, photographers or casting managers reach out to me either through Instagram. They've seen my work on Instagram. They reach out to me through email, and they have this treatment or they have this project that they think I'll be good for. So I look at it, if it's something that I can relate to, I think I can do well in, and I think it will be relevant at the end of the day to me or to whoever, then I will take it on. If I'm not vibing with the idea, I'll just tell them that, I'm not available, or, it's something that I'm not interested in doing. So definitely has a lot to do with the message being sent out. And then sometimes, depending on the photographer, if it's somebody I know personally and somebody I know who wants to collaborate, and I know that, we see eye to eye on, so we might not see eye to eye on everything, but generally, if we see eye to eye on certain things, I'll definitely take it on. The memories we have shared together. Like the first man and his woman, our love is a blueprint for our kind. Even when apart, we're so close, so alike in our thoughts.
So, Nuerki, let's now look at you as a voice-over actor and a model, of course. The Afro-Romance collection by Ejabing, which we just played and we are playing in the background right now, is amazing, to say the least. You did the voiceover and you did the modeling. Tell us more about that experience. What went into it and how was it for you?
The casting director for that project reached out to me again via Instagram. It's like, yeah, we have this thing, it's for this brand, and are you interested in it? This is how much. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool, because it's one of the brands that I actually was looking forward to working with for a long time. So then when they finally messaged me, I was beyond excited. So I went for fittings, I went to the studio, then we did the initial e-commerce photos that were going to be put on the website, and then we planned to do the whole short film shoot, and we shot it in Kokrobite in one day, and it was just nice. It was just a great experience because it was a large production team. A lot of people that I had worked with in the past were also part of the project. It was a fun experience. It was a fun project, and obviously I'm also proud of the results of it.
Between modeling and voiceovers, which do you prefer?
I am starting to do more voiceovers now. It was something that I had always wanted to do, but I didn't know how to get into it, so to speak. And Afro Women's gave me my first proper opportunity to do a voiceover like that on such a big scale like that. So between modeling and voiceovers, I think I prefer modeling because voiceovers can be really technical and challenging, especially if the script is quite complex. But I honestly love them both. I love doing both.
Would you describe modeling as a lucrative profession?
I think it can be, depending on the brands that you work with. It can be lucrative, I think. And also depending on where in the world you're modeling, people put more value on, creative arts and creative expression tend to also pay more. So yeah, it can be lucrative.
And how do you come up with your rate card? That's a challenge that many people experience.
I basically ask, whether it depends on whether it's like a full day shoot or it's a half day shoot, and what the campaign is about, who the brand is, what it's actually going to be used for, if it's going to be used on the website, if it's going to be on a billboard, if it's going to be in a magazine. I consider all those things and then put together the rate for whatever project it is.
Now, one that stands out for me is you have been featured on Afropunk and even on a music video for Biko Music. Tell us some more about that song and the experience featuring in the video.
Yeah, Biko is a really good friend of mine. He's one of my closest friends. We've known each other for 8+ years, I think, 6 to 8+ years. And what happens normally when he's working on a new project or something, he would share with me the initial draft of it. And then as he's getting ideas and as he's developing his ideas, he would share with me and ask me, what do I think of it and what do I, So he sent me the song and I was like, this is a hit. This is going to be big, And so when he finally had his ideas for the video, he sent it to me and asked me if I would like to be in the video. And I was like, yes, of course. You don't even have to ask. I mean, this is so cool. So we planned it, and then it was cool because it was a small team. It was literally me, him, the videographer, and the director, who's also our other friend Tano Jackson. And we were like, okay, so what can we bring? Like, can I bring this? Can I bring that? How am I gonna style it? So when we got on set, there were things that I had brought, there were things that he had brought to make, like, the set what it looked like in the video. It was literally it was like all hands on board. Let's just like do the best thing that we can. Let's do this thing really well. So it was good that he asked me to be part of the video, and honestly, it's one of my one of the projects that I have been really proud of as well.
Would you say featuring as a model on CNN was the biggest platform you've been on?
The photographer who was also featured, Carlos, he reached out to me that he thinks that this would be great for me to do as well. And we had to get a stylist on board, and so I had the idea of bringing the Slum Studio, which is the brand I wore during the feature. And Slum Studio is also one of my favorite brands ever because they are really big on upcycling and sustainability, and it's just a very meaningful brand that I associate with. So we all came together, and that's how the feature on CNN's docuseries happened.
Of Ghanaians who are determined to show the world that the creativity coming out of this country is inspirational.
My name is Carlos Identeria. I am a photographer, filmmaker based in Accra, Ghana. I just generally love to tell.
So Nuerki, that was an excerpt of the piece that you featured in on CNN. Let's now, very impressive, I must say. Let's now move on to qualifications of a model. What are the 3 to 5 qualities that you think every model should have?
I think definitely self-confidence, because the industry is based a lot on looks and really a lot of materialism, a lot of fickleness. So if you're not confident in yourself and your skills and what you bring to the table, it can be a bit challenging. So I think one of the most important things is to have self-confidence. And then another thing is maintain good grooming habits, whether it's with hair, whether it's with nails. I mean, sometimes if it's a big production, they will do all that for you, but sometimes it might not be a production crew as big. So you want to be ready, you want to be on set and at least have the basics.
Models are seen as being super confident, as you are. How do you garner this kind of confidence required?
Honestly, sometimes when I'm a bit anxious about the shoot, the day before I practice a lot. I go through the treatment, I do research on the brand, I do research on, what the general vibe and feel of their past campaigns or their past work is, and I try and practice that. I practice a lot in the mirror before shoots, So that's one thing that I would say I do to get the confidence, especially when I'm feeling a bit anxious about working with a particular brand or on a particular project.
Would you say that mainstream media has made more room for African models, specifically darker skin models?
Yeah, definitely. Mainstream media has made more room for African models. But the thing is, we've always been lit, I mean, whether or not mainstream media is opening up space for us, we're charting our own paths now. With social media, we can tell our own stories. We don't need to wait for anybody to hand us anything, to be very honest and frank. Definitely, mainstream media is opening up. A lot of brands, a lot of companies are coming to Ghana specifically to work with creatives here. So that's also a good thing that's happening in this space.
What's a life-changing lesson you've learned being in the industry so far?
A life-changing lesson, I think just being on set, you have everything planned out, but sometimes things don't always work out the way you plan it, and you just have to adapt. I mean, just because something isn't working right on set doesn't mean that the project has to stop, or the shooting or the film has to stop. You just have to adapt and make use of what you have just to get the same result. So I think that's also something that I've taken into my own life. And you might have things planned out, but just because they don't work the exact way that you want it to work doesn't mean that everything else should come to a standstill. So that's a life-changing lesson that I've learned through being in the industry.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I think, honestly, definitely still working in the creative arts here in Ghana. I hope to open or establish a mentoring school where, just giving kids the opportunity to explore their creative sides, whether it's through painting, whether it's through learning an instrument, whether it's learning how to DJ, whatever it is that they can just have the exposure of and just explore to see if it's something that they can potentially become or do in the future. It's something that I'm very passionate about. So I'm hoping that I can open not a school, but sort of a mentoring program, but it's specifically for children back in my hometown who under normal circumstances would not have that sort of exposure or that opportunity to play an instrument, or paint or sing or whatever it is that they want to explore on their creative side.
How has your work been received by those closest to you? Would you say that they've been supportive throughout your modeling career?
Definitely my family has been supportive. As I mentioned earlier, everybody is, doing their own creative thing and they are getting paid for it. I mean, it's their job and they're succeeding in it. So I think my family has been very supportive of my modeling career.
Who inspires you in the industry and who would you love to work with?
I like WEC, the South Sudanese model. Really is somebody who inspires me in the industry. I remember reading her book when I was in middle school about how she became a model, and I was reading it and I mean I never even pictured myself even 10-15 years down the line doing also modeling. But I think she inspired me to do it subconsciously. But Alec Weck is somebody who inspires me. And who would I love to work with? Okay, so in terms of an individual, I think Alton Mason is somebody that I really want to work with. He's a model, actor. I feel like with him, his creativity is just boundless, limitless. There's nothing that he cannot not do. So basically, he's somebody that I think I really, really would love to work with in the future. And then in terms of a brand, I think Jacques Meux, he's a French designer, somebody that I would also love to work with in the future. Yeah, so those are the people and the brands that I would like to work with.
What advice do you have for anyone looking to model?
I'd say if it's something that you really want to do, just focus all your energies on it and do it, but only for the right reasons. If you feel like it's a place where you can make a lot of valuable impact in, you should definitely go for it, but not because you think modeling is going to bring you popularity or fame or whatever it is that is materialistic. Those things can be good, you can use those things to make impact, but that shouldn't be the main reason why you go into modeling. I feel like whatever thing you decide to do is because you feel like you have the skill set and you can bring something valuable to the table that can make positive impact.
Nuerki has been our Woman of the Month, a perfect way to end 50-50 for this month. I hope you enjoyed the program. A huge thanks to the production team, to our resource persons, and to you, our listeners. Remember to continue to follow our discussions on Twitter and Instagram at WADR News, on Facebook at West Africa Democracy Radio English Service, and online at wadr.org. You can also leave me a message via WhatsApp at +221 7818 45421. Again, +221 7818 45421. And please remember to begin your message with hashtag 5050. My name is Atiewin Imbila Lawson. Until next time, goodbye for now.